Oh, the humanity, more chaos. Breaking news. Maximilian Verstappen has received an additional penalty, and in the next 10 minutes or less, we're going to go through it. Here's what the FIA document said. The stewards to the team manager of Oracle Red Bull Racing, document 40, 1st of June 2025, dated, timed 1800 hours. It reads as follows. The stewards have received a report from the race director having considered the following matter and determined the following: car number 1, driver Max Verstappen, team competitor Oracle Red Bull Racing, time 16:33 hours. Session race, car 1 collided with car 63, turn 5, breach of Appendix L, Chapter 4, Article 2D of the FIA International Sporting Code of Conduct. Decision, 10-second time penalty. We knew that already. That was sunk cost. In addition, however, and here's where context is key, because Max Verstappen already has 8 penalty points on his super license. They've given him an additional 3, having reviewed the incident between car number 1 and car 63 after round 9, the Spanish Grand Prix. They've given him an additional 3 penalty points. That gives him total of 11 of 12 over a 12-month period, meaning therefore if he gets an additional 1, that will be a race ban for Maximilian Verstappen. Oh, the humanity. When it rains, it pours for the Dutch 4 soon to be 5-time champion. Techier than techie things now. Lest we forget that they roll off. Max Verstappen's first 2 points are set to roll off at the Austrian Grand Prix. That's round 11, 2 rounds from now. Stewards says their reason that they reviewed the positioning, marshalling system data, video timing telemetry and in-car video evidence. From the radio communication, it was clear that the driver of car 1 was asked by his team to give back the position to car 63 for what they perceived to be an earlier breach by car number 1, which since, per Anthony Davidson and the internationally syndicated Sky broadcast, we realised was not at the altar of Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc was guilty of an infringement, then causing a collision, even open and shut case per Anthony Davidson. So too in the second circumstance. George Russell needed to tick 3 boxes. We've gone through them already. Keep it within the white lines on the island. So too he needed to get at the very least level with the wing mirror of Maximilian Verstappen. Did that, 2 ticks. The 3rd tick, however, cheeky understeer moment, determines that George Russell did not have his car completely in control. And again, you get another collision between Max car number 1 and George Russell car number 63. So GP, some are saying, Max Verstappen fans and fundamentalists all around the world saying, what was GP talking about here? The stewards say car number 1 was asked by his team to give back the position to car 63 for what they perceived to be an earlier breach by car number 1 for leaving the track and gaining a lasting advantage. In fact, we had later determined that we would take no further action in relation to that incident. Oh, the humanity. That tells you all you need to know, that GP caused this incident with his communication to an already aggrieved Maximilian Verstappen, full soon to be 5-time champion, at the perceived injustice of what had happened in the lead up to that. There would have been no further investigation. For fudge's sake, GP. Balls that are red. I mean, he's going to leave that team definitely now, right, at the altar of their perceived incompetence and lack of operational infrastructure. They can't even give him a car. Lest we forget, Max said he needs 3 things. He needs a team around him capable of developing a car, building a car. He needs a car and a semblance of harmony. All of those three things have gone to pot potentially, as at race number 10, he might be outside of the top 4. He might be in 5th position, ergo capable of exercising his exit clause in that contract. Stewards continue. Let's finish this off because it's techier than techie things. The driver of car number 1 was clearly unhappy with his team's request to give the position back. At the approach to turn 5, car number 1 significantly reduced its speed, thereby appearing to allow car 63 to overtake, give back the position. However, after car 63 got ahead of car 1 at the entry of turn 5, car 1 then suddenly accelerated and collided in brackets unsaid deliberately with car 63. What are we doing here? The stewards continue. The collision was undoubtedly caused by the actions of car number 1. We therefore imposed a 10-second time penalty on car number 1. Competitors are reminded, continued the stewards and race director, that they have the right to appeal certain decisions, blah, 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 to the stewards in accordance with Article 15 of the FIA International Sporting Code and Chapter 4 of the FIA Judicial and Disciplinary. That's nonsense. The new evidence, the parameters that something like that will get overturned are so confined, so anomalous that there's not even much point. These are just words at this stage. Decisions of the stewards are taken independently of the FIA and are based solely on the relevant regulations, guidelines and evidence presented. Yours truly, Nish Shetty, Matthew Selly, Antonio Liuzzi, David Domingo. The stewards owe the humanity. What are we doing here? I have no idea how to react to this thing. Now, this has done one of these as far as the F1 community. Some are saying throw the book. It's Mad Max. He can't drive. If you put him under adversity, you're always going to get that. Max Verstappen fans on the other side of that fence are saying, what the hell did you expect, GP? Didn't you see the incidences between Charles Leclerc and with Max and George Russell? What are you doing coming over the radio? You guys left that dude out on fresh, hard compound tyres. In front of him were Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri on 3 and 4 lap old softs. Behind him, he had fire-breathing dragon Charles Leclerc, so too George Russell, each of whom were also on scrub soft compound tyre. This was Abu Dhabi 21 in reverse. He was left out there. He was this was sunk cost. He had nowhere to go. Did Maximilian Verstappen. What else did you expect him to do? Therefore, GP, what else did you expect him to say? How else did you expect Maximilian Verstappen, a fire-breathing dragon of a peddler who only exists to win F1 races and therefore championships? How else did you think that dude was going to react? Now, listen, let me extend GP some grace and Red Bull Racing. I would argue that but for the cheeky safeguard, that they always had to play a strategic joker. They were never going to beat the McLaren, the papaya-coloured cars in the hands of Lando and Oscar Piastri on pace. It was never ever going to happen. Yeah, and still you've got to ask questions about GP putting Maximilian Verstappen in that position where he was always going to react like that if past his prologue. A fire-breathing dragon that Maximilian Verstappen is, and now you've placed him in harm's way. 49 points adrift of OJ Piastri in the drivers. Now he's 1 penalty additional on his super license, away from a cheeky 1 race ban. You would argue then, you would be forgiven for arguing, that the tenure as Maximilian Verstappen as reigning world champion for some say soon to be 5-time has never been more in jeopardy than it is now, particularly on the back of those 3 penalty points that they've given on his super license, particularly on the back of the 49 points that he currently lies adrift of one OJ Piastri. Momentum for OJ and McLaren are doing one of these. Zach Brown's not even concerned about team orders. So dominant is that car. TD018 directive has done nothing if not improve the gap, increase the gap between McLaren and the other 9 teams. Ergo, this feels a lot like, I don't know, 1988, 1989. McLaren in the hands of Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna. Dominance, almost a monopoly as far as track time and pace, durable competitive advantage. Therefore, I put forth to the F1 jury, what else did you expect Maximilian Verstappen to do? It's techier than techie things, I realise, and this conversation is going to go back and forth ad infinitum through the night. Did Max Verstappen, was he out of order if past his prologue? Jerez 97, Sebastian Vettel did something similar on Sir Lewis Hamilton and got a stop go, didn't he? 10 seconds worth. But if past his prologue, you know that the FIA are nothing if not inconsistent. How, ladies and gentlemen of the F1 jury, do you like yourselves then some F1?